least once in our lives, we find ourselves working with or having to interact with annoying or difficult people. And if you cannot avoid them, how do you cope with them? Please welcome, somebody knows what I'm talking about. Please welcome therapist and public speaker Susan Fee. Welcome. It's good to meet you. Pardon my cold hands. It's supposed to mean a warm heart, though, my mom says. So there are, obviously going to be all kinds of people that you deal with. And sometimes they're either your neighbor or there's somebody close at work.
Like
and you
your
can't,
family.
Well, I didn't want to say it, but we're coming up on Thanksgiving. And they could be, and you can't avoid them. So how should we begin to think about this?
Right. So this is a strategy that I call respectful disengagement. So we have to respectfully have conversation with people.
Got that?
Right.
We'll talk more.
Here's the hard part, disengaging emotionally. That's hard. So you don't get all riled up at their irritating habits.
Well, how do you do that? Because that seems like that comes on so quickly.
Yeah, right. So the very first thing is, luckily, difficult people are consistent. They're consistently difficult, and they don't try to hide it. They show it. And when we get upset, we're consistent too. We consistently don't believe that they're difficult. So the first thing is just see the person as they are. That's what Maya Angelou said. When somebody shows you who they are, believe them the first time, right? So if you can believe that, then the second thing is, then stop trying to change those behaviors. That's when we get emotionally engaged, right? We're just all hooked in. We use all of our energy to show our disdain, and we lecture, and we try to fix them and persuade them. All of that. That's silent treatment, which was a complete engagement. So if you can agree that this is who this person is, it doesn't mean you have to put up with all their difficult behaviors, but if you can see them for who they are, then you can start choosing your behavior based on what really is versus who you want them to be.
Right. And so what I hear you saying here is that you know what's coming, and instead of just reacting to that as though you have no choice, you need to build in a little space there for yourself, a moment of grace where you can make a decision to do what?
Yeah, so the second thing is, I'm not going to complain about them anymore. I've established they're a difficult person, they have certain behaviors, I'm not trying to change them anymore, and I'm also not going to make them part of my story anymore, because you think about it, if you keep complaining, you have to use all of your energy to gather evidence, right, to support your case. So,
and then this happened, and then that happened.
Oh, and you won't believe it. Yeah, actually I would. It's the same story.
Yes,
it's the same story. Yeah.
Very good point.
Right.
Okay, so let's talk about the various steps. You mentioned stopping the efforts to change the person, stop complaining about the person.
Yeah.
And this one was interesting to me. Stop trying to get that person to understand your pain.
Right.
Which is, I always thought was maybe a good thing to try to say, well, how would you feel if blah, blah, blah? But it doesn't really work.
Yeah, and we want that almighty apology. So this is
or
what
at least some glimmer that we're getting each other,
but
right?
I will tell you what, then you didn't do step one right, and that is accept them for what they're showing you, who they are.
Return to step one.
Your wounder is never your healer. Your wounder is never your healer. So we keep going back to people who we know are difficult and wanting them to validate who we are when maybe we don't even respect them to begin with, right?
Yeah, why does it matter so much?
Right, right. So if you feel something, then it's true for you. And that's all you need about your feelings. It's not more worthy if a difficult person then acknowledges that.
Interesting. Okay, and then you say stop blaming.
Yeah, so often we say that this difficult person is the reason we can't live the life that we want. But when you make that person 100% of your problem, you also agree that they're going to be 100% of your solution. And that's just so much power to give away. And so you can see where the emotional engagement comes. You feel like a victim. The disengagement says, you are not blocking me. You're not blocking my life. I'm not going to blame you for that. I have choices. Just like a pothole on the sidewalk, I have choices whether I'm going to stand there and get mad at the pothole or choose a path around it, and I choose to go around.
Now, I see this in work situations as being really successful. I'm more curious about what happens when, it's a mother-daughter relationship or something like that, and these patterns are so ingrained, and it feels like so much is at stake. Can we still find our way through this?
I think it's, and I'm a mother of a daughter myself, I think it's the thing that saves the relationship. Because when you start out, and the loved one that you have knows that you are not going to qualify for my love until you change, you already have a broken relationship. But if we start out and I say, I love you, I see you've got some behaviors, and I'm not going to spend my energy trying to correct those or fix those behaviors so they meet my approval, I'm going to take you for what that is, and I'm going to build this other relationship. It releases this tension so that you can start to have the conversation.
Now, do you actually say that to somebody, or you say that to yourself?
I think you need to, first of all, say it to yourself, but also you say it to the person, because if you're a parent or a spouse or you already have been trying to fix them, right? And if you say, from this moment on, I free you. I free you of having to be anything other than you are to please me. And the other person says, really? Awesome. So we can talk about other stuff now? Yep. It doesn't mean I won't have to make some changes, right? I'm not going to tolerate bad behavior, that type of thing. I don't want to be emotionally abused in any way, so I'm not going to sit. I'm not going to do that. I may take some time away from you, or do another activity, or choose not to listen to a certain conversation. But I'm not going to root that in my whole motivation to make you be something that you're not.
Have you done this yourself?
Absolutely. I've been married for 26 years. The only way you do that is to learn this strategy. Absolutely. Yeah, that's the humanness of us, right? That we expect other people to be just like us. And this is what I help my clients do as well. It's probably the #1 thing that people walk in the door with, is they're upset by somebody else. Yeah, people who are embedded in our lives.
And maybe not cognizant of their own choices in that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Susan tackles this topic in more depth at an upcoming Ignite Seattle event Thursday, October 19th at the Egyptian Theater in Seattle. The details are on our website. This is good stuff to think about. We'll be right back.